Next on our schedule for today, we have no other person than one of Africa's finest authors, speakers, philosophers, and our custodian of African proverbs. His name is Obinaya Oruakpa, and he's going to do a pre-panel discourse on the value of culture in forging a new education mindset. Please put your hands together for Elder Chief, High Chief Obinaya Oruakpa as he comes forward. Keep jamming those hands, keep jamming those hands. If you stop clapping, you buy a goat. You stop with cola nuts. Welcome, sir.
I just go live on Facebook. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, maybe I should actually do Nigeria Kwenu. Okay, no, because I'm not putting on suit like my brother. Okay, you can take the phone from him. My name is Obinaya Chinazoko Uzoma Ngozi Uruakpa. Now, that was deliberate, so I dropped my walking stick here first. I'm the son of two teachers. I grew up with my grandmother. And I speak proverbs. I make money from speaking proverbs. One of the things I learned about 3 years ago at the Global Leadership Summit is to own your difference. I have suits. I wear them. But you know, my people say if you're not careful, they'll carry you and pass your father's compound. So I'm going to be speaking a lot of proverbs here. I'm discussing the value of culture in a new education mindset. As a person thinketh in their heart, so they are, they say. But let me start from here. My people will tell you I'm from Ibeko, in Osiomangwa local government area of Abia State. I'm an Ongwa man. One of the things we say is that if a visitor brings us rice, we'll give them yams. Meaning that when you come from the township with your bag of rice, I go to my backyard, what I call backyard economy, and I dig up a tuber of yam and I give you. Meaning I have something to exchange for your rice. But what we do in Nigeria today is that if we're not careful, what we do is consume, consume, consume. No wonder even our country is borrowing. I didn't say that. A bit of a background. On May 21, 2003, the United Nations made a press release number HR 4674, captioned the importance of indigenous education and culture highlighted as Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues continues second session. Now, some of the highlights are the following. And please permit me to read. The importance of educating youth in their own cultures as well as using indigenous languages to educate them was stressed today during this discussion on culture and education in the Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues. Opening the discussion, a representative of the United Nations Scientific, Educational and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, observed that millions of children continue to be taught in languages they did not use or even understand. She added that the participation of the indigenous peoples in designing curricula was still limited, and education still fell short of eliminating prejudice and discrimination targeted at indigenous peoples. Now, the lack of indigenous education emphasized a representative of indigenous youth would continue to set indigenous youth apart from their own cultures, stressing that education was the key to self-determination. She recommended that educational instruction take place in indigenous languages. A representative of the Ainu Association of Hokkaido said, Ainu children were at a much higher risk of dropping out of school due to the discrimination which could be addressed by teaching Ainu culture and history in public schools to both Japanese and Ainu children. At present, Ainu children were deprived of the opportunity to take pride in their indigenous background, which hindered their identification with the Ainu culture and history. Now, other speakers highlighted the lack of adequate funding for indigenous youth, the difficulties experienced in adapting to Western standards, and the high dropout rates. Greater attention must be paid to youth who were dropping out of school, they stressed, by offering culturally specific and language assistance. Many recommended that indigenous languages be integrated into national curricula and urged the United Nations agencies to design materials sensitive to the cultural and educational needs of indigenous peoples. They also stress that multilingual education should occur at all educational levels and that indigenous peoples be trained so that they could compete both nationally and internationally. So how do we respond? Doing one thing over and over again, expecting a different result is the definition of madness, someone said. How do we respond and rework our education mindset? The journey of 1,000 miles begins beneath one's feet. What do? We need to build a new generation with certain common traits. Original critical thinkers. Risk takers. Take responsibility for their own actions. Feel competent and capable. Set high goals and enjoy working towards them. Can we change from A is for apple to A is for apple, palm kernel? Just thinking aloud, friends. What are we doing? For several years, I've had the privilege of going on air, NTA, China Global TV Network, just name it, Hot FM. And I've consistently asked the question, why do we use expired biscuits? What else do you have in hampers? Macaroni, what else? Noodles. How many of you actually eat those things? So last year, we decided to stop talking and to act. So our team went to Kaduna Road and bought baskets. And we decided to put yams, plantain, crayfish. What else did we put there? We put, Ms. Ajala got the first basket to honor Ms. Ajala, who is my mother. Please, a round of applause for Ms. Ajala, Ms. Oyefeko and the crew. The NAPS team, a round of applause for NAPS. At the NAPS event, many of you were there. At the NAPS event, national event, I was anchoring as MC, and we gave a basket to Ms. Ajala. She broke down in tears. When the national president got this basket and carried it, he said, this is the biggest hamper I've ever received in my life. But this hamper had Irish potatoes and sweet potatoes in it. FIRS got a sample and called for it and took 100 baskets, and we gave them 2 extra, and they paid 10,000 for each, 1 million naira. Now, I was in a hotel training ex-militants in Bayelsa, and I decided to meditate on it. What name do we call it? Because what you call your dog is what it will answer. And I sent a message to our branding team, and we decided to call it the Village Hamper. Don't bother using the name because we have trademarked it with the government. That's also wisdom. So the name of this hamper is called the Village Hamper. So I'm wondering why next time you want to give a hamper, you still give me biscuits. Why don't I give you what is in my place? We are in Africa. If I did roasted yam and I shared here, many of you would have taken it. Why are we still on some of these carbonated drinks when we can drink Zobo and Kunu? Way forward. Learning organizations encourage ownership spirit. Organizations want to have idea champions. Ideas rule the world. People who take ownership of an idea from concept to manifestation. This can be a language teacher. English language, culture, any of the languages. But let me just take you on a journey. What action have we taken? Some of you got a card when you sat this morning. If you don't have the card yet, you can raise your hands, you'll get it. The card says stop. So last year at my 50th birthday, I decided to do a webinar, and I got a lot of people in this room to participate. And on the webinar, we decided to discuss entrepreneurship and how to domesticate whatever it is we've been speaking big grammar on. Collaborating with the Enterprise Development Center at Atlantic University. Now, at the heart of it was we came up with this. A permanent secretary incidentally had gone to the United Nations. My dream is to address the General Assembly of the United Nations. That's the first line on my profile. If you're not jealous, put your hands together for me. And whenever I speak, it's the 10,000 hours principle. Whenever I speak, I see everyone seated as a head of state. So put your hands together for yourselves. So my dream is to address the General Assembly of the United Nations. So the permanent secretary, okay, let me call her name, Water Resources today, got there and met Professor Bande. And Professor Bande said, what are you working on? He said, there is a young man in Nigeria, citizen Obinaya. He wishes to address the General Assembly of the United Nations. And the man said, It's not as easy as that. For you to address the United Nations, you have to start with side meetings. Dream big, but do what? Start small. I said, go get an NGO registered. Create activities. Over time, the United Nations will take notice of you and they will invite you themselves. Something tells me we'll be at the UN in September this year, starting on September 13. You know why? The SDGs has adopted the use of proverbs in their TV show, and I'm speaking. So we created what we call TAP, the Africa Proverbs Project Initiative. Friends, let me explain something to you. 20 children born the same year can never play together for 20 years. Yorubas, yeah? The child we refuse to train will sell the house we built. Yoruba proverb, yes? Igbo proverb, aka aja aja wetara ọnụ mmanụ mmanụ. Sand-soiled hands beget oily lips. Is that not so? Good. Hausa will tell you, nama na the jankali. Instead of the nama dragging the meat is dragging the dog. Yeah? Good. Now, so we said your go-to place for everything African. African content. For you to make it in life and business, you must be strategic, deliberate, and intentional. I have suits in my wardrobe. But I come in here, and then when I want to greet my brother, one day, you're wearing suit, but I'll forgive you. Bliko Bia. Bia, no Bia. He doesn't have a red cap, stand here. So he's not qualified, even though he told me he's a chief. But he has decided not to model it. This is how we greet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, people in churches have fought me. You are trying to revive fetish things. I said, can you hold it? The white gown you're wearing is Oyibo's one. Where is it in the Bible that you must wear white gown and black suits? So this is what we to make them happy. Those of them who are born again Christians and number one born again, I'm a deacon. This is in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Even your father knew ahead of you. Sit down, sir. So what are we trying to teach? All of those things we have demonized are actually our own thing. If you don't like it, give it a better name. Proverbs clubs. Gifts. Can I have the t-shirt? What can you see? Can you read? Some people here know the proverb. Nshiko the crab. And I deliberately use Nshiko, the Igbo name for crab, because I'm not going to deny who I am. Nshiko the crab said, you do not, and my people say you do not eat Nshiko the crab in secret. If you were to steal a crab, once you chew crumb, your mother will catch you. So I'm wondering why you want to go for hiking, Eseswade, Emi and crew, why you want to go for an event, and you're doing Asni. Why don't you have Proverbs on the Asni t-shirt? Okay, you're doing a birthday, why don't you put a proverb that defines who you are? It is by respect upon respect that the woman marries another woman. Yes. I'm telling you my culture. Many of us don't even know that women could marry women. Think about it. You pay me for that knowledge. Gifts, mugs, and the like. What gifts do we give? Baskets. The reason our country is borrowing so much is because we are not thinking inwards. We are thinking outside the box, and it overwhelms. I'll get there. So what have we done? I speak a lot of proverbs. And I remember the day we were launching Mr. Jala's school guide at the International Conference Center. Ebuka was speaking, and I was the MC. And he said, Obi, why don't you stay on this thing? Aisha Atta, my lecturer in business school, drove to my office and spent hours. Obi, now do not lose your signature. Your signature is these proverbs. So in response to what people have been asking for, the voice of the people is the voice of God. Our team has come up with what we call my African proverb. My African proverb, we kept asking, what is the best way to introduce proverbs? Now, check that in your proverb lie the wisdom of your people, the culture of your people. Check it. Almost everything about your culture is inside the proverbs. And in communication, until the person you're communicating to has understood, you have not communicated. So we decided to communicate to 6-year-olds, yes sir, 6-year-olds. And this document does personal development for them. It does SWOT analysis for them. And what it says, like in the first proverb here, is ant. I'm not going to sell Superman, and I'm not going to sell Batman. So what we have here is tortoise at the cover, but the first proverb here is the ant. 2 ants do not fail to drag a big grasshopper. What is the principle behind it? Thank you. So we can actually use proverbs to teach the same personal development that we all pay millions for. It's here. So we didn't stop there. We decided to, from the NGO that was registered last year, we decided to form what we call Proverbs Clubs. So talking to NAPS, ACSI, and all the platforms, I'm a friend of the family. What I don't have is an ID card for NAPS, but I'm begging for the ID card. But we can have Proverbs Clubs in all schools in Nigeria, and I'm asking if it is possible, please say aye. Is it possible that in all schools in Nigeria, Africa, and beyond, we can hold regular activities, preferably weekly, utilizing the map book? This is a map book. Take a proverb every week. What's your name again, sir? Lawrence sits as the Baba for Tales by Moonlight. And these are the children. Rather than Nickelodeon, rather than some of these ones that we no longer know which particular gender and trans, with this one, that. Now we no longer know where we belong. Okay, before we confuse our children, can Lawrence give a proverb and explain the principle behind the proverb? I repeat. Sand soiled hands beget oily lips, as in the case of the hard-working farmer. If you don't dirty your hands, you won't have oily lips. Can we treat one principle per meeting, deliberate on it, learn and practice, engage the immediate community? Can the Obi of Furniture just marked 81. I was in Oka last week. Imagine the Obi of Furniture in Ladela schools. Imagine the commotion that will happen by 11 a.m. when he drives into Ladela. Imagine the experience these children will have when they gather and the Obi of Furniture walks in. You know how Abogidi, they call him the Abogidi. He walks in, this guy walked in shell. He's not an illiterate. So when he's communicating from a very deep place. My people say when a woman marries 2 husbands, she knows the one that is better for her. I'm not saying you should marry 2 husbands. What I'm saying is that having walked in shell, having seen the white man, and now today traditional ruler, what about the Oni of Ife? A real estate entrepreneur, a banker, coming at the age of 42 to be the Oni. And for your information, Alaafin is dead. If we don't suck these guys dry and they die with this knowledge, you and I have lost. Engage the media community, promote their culture. Yes, clap, don't threaten to clap. Showcase on social media. So if you're school in Ladela or Shepherd Hill, Royal Family Academy, if you're doing any activity, can you go live on social media? As I speak, I'm live on Facebook. Yes, technology is an enabler. So we can set up this club in Sweden, in Switzerland, everywhere. Why must we be going to Chinese restaurant? Does China come here with potato? The Jos is just pepper. The pepper is from Jos. They only come with a piece of paper. It is called recipe. But you are busy there. I'm going to Chinese restaurant. Which Chinese restaurant? You're eating our denkeli. Can we drive positive change? As a round-off, culture at the heart of new education mindset. Let me tell you my call to action. In order for this type of forward thinking, everybody say forward thinking. It's actually, is it forward thinking? We're actually trying to recalibrate, pivot. We are going back to where it was. We are going back to Eden. We are going back to where we used to be. We are going back to crafts. The wristwatch I'm wearing is the homework of Japanese children and Chinese children. But you're wearing it, you're carrying Louis Vuitton. Check it, not the original one, self. People in China, kids in China are doing coding and the rest of it. What are our children doing? What's he doing? Obi is a boy. Ada is a girl. Jump up, I am jumping up. Sit down, I am sitting down. We're still at that level. ASU has been on strike for how long? But thank God for what the technology people are doing. Please put your hands together for all of the guys who have done awesome things. Person where they reject, no, they reject himself. So this is what I'm recommending. In order for this type of forward thinking to reap long-term benefits, top management in regulatory agencies, schools, NAPS, please, NAPS, if this thing I'm saying doesn't make sense, just tell me, let me shut it down here. If this is not going to happen in every NAPS school, the day my father died, to tell you the passion I had, my dad died at 10 a.m. I spoke to NAPS at 12 o'clock. When Mr. Jala found out, so your jokes are not rhyming. I said, yes, my dad died this morning. He said, are you mad? I said, yes. The world can only be changed by madmen. Schools must allow it to flourish in their own day-to-day operations. I'm begging you, school uniform must not come from UK. Soludo wore Akwete cloths. Save the Kaduna textile mill. 4,000 of them are riding Okada. Boko Haram is moving from Borno to Kaduna according to the governor himself. Can we prevent this thing? The person that will stop vomiting should stop the urge to vomit. Can we be the change you want to see? Can we attack this thing, friends? What is positioning? Listen to this. My people say if you're not close to the fire, your yam will never rose quickly. The better you plan your strategy for positioning yourself, the more successful your efforts are going to be. NAPS, school owners, regulatory bodies, they are not here, but we can speak to them, we can get them, we have access to them, I can promise you. Listen to this. At the rate we are going, China has over 3 million Chinese in Africa, and this was 4 years ago. China, okay. Your children are living for Canada in droves. My wife is still wondering what was he doing here. I said, leave me alone. At the age of 51, I cannot watch dead body. Where does it start? You position yourself first in your mind. Start from here, move up here, meditate, and before you now make progress. But you know, I can make all the noise I'm making here today. It starts from somewhere. Everybody said, think inside the box. Own your difference. If you have an Igbotic accent, accept it. It is what you have. My people say the person that has the swelling of the scrotum should not complain. It doesn't come to everybody. Next is try hard work. 1,000 good intentions are not as good as one action. Act on your ideas. The problem is that we'll finish this presentation. Everybody's last is sweet. I love his proverbs. When you go back to your school today, make us a promise. Get a language teacher. You have the card that has been given to you. If you don't have, I'll give you my number. Send the teacher. I promise you I'll make out time. I'm usually very busy. I don't even know what I'm doing. If I didn't buy 100 million naira form, I don't even know what I'm busy doing. But I promise you, I promise you that I'm so passionate about this that I will sit down with your teachers, 1 or 2 per school, and I'm going to guide them on how to set up Proverbs clubs. And you will be the chief mentor and the chief patron of that school. Mr. Ajala is raising your hand. Put your hands together for Mr. Ajala. I'm going to take your question. Next one is celebrate achievement of timelines and milestones. It will boost your mental health. But as a round off, listen to this, everyone. This is my very good friend, Bill Clinton. This is where the world is going. In the 21st century, the wealth of any nation will not be calibrated by what lies under its feet, but what lies between the ears of its people. What are our people hearing? Our people are hearing Nickelodeon. My daughter wants to run out of Nigeria. She's 13. My fear is that if that girl leaves Nigeria, she will marry a Yubo and she will not come back. And in my old age, I need my daughter to do, is it Omogo? I think, everybody, can we say what's on the board together? Can we, let me tell you my fear. Everybody, 1, 2, 3, go. So I retired at 36. My father was a lecturer, my mom a teacher. My dad had a stroke within 2 years of retirement. I don't want to repeat that experience. We can create our own wealth. We can move away from where we are. Let me encourage you. Finally, when we leave here today, the 80-20 rule will kick in. To make it worse, the 90-10 principle will kick in. My fear is that let it not be that only 20% of you will do 80% of the things that we will say in this room, whether by my brothers, by some of me, by all of the people that have spoken. Let the 90-10 principle not kick in. Let it not be that only 10% of you will do 90% of things we've said. But you know, interestingly about 90-10 principle, 10% of life is what happens to you. 90% is how you respond to it, not how you react to it. Don't be a doer. Don't just be a talker. My name is Obinaya Chinazoko Zomangozi Uraba, and I'm done.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.
Okay, finally, something just happened. He just said, I'm buying this copy. Now, that's the point. We don't want to sell it. Thank you. That's a good question. The person when they ask question, know the missing way. How many of you attend? Okay, now I don't want to sell it. The Holy Spirit said I should not sell it. Ask me why now. Mommy, Ejo, I heard you speaking outside, so I can speak outside to you. This is Holy Spirit. Mommy, hold it. Show it to them. Now, this is my mommy. That's the president of NABS FCT. Put your hands together for my darling sister. Well, we've done a lot of things together. Mommy, did you attend primary school?
Yes.
What is the name of your primary school?
Baptist Primary School, Mina.
Did you attend secondary school?
Oh, yes.
Name?
Niger Baptist College, Mina.
Higher institution, uncle?
Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria.
Okay, fine. Now listen to this. Now this morning, my wife was coming out from the bathroom and I told her what has happened. We have over 300 copies of this book ordered without people seeing the book. If you get the heart of the people, you can ask for their hands. Now, Mommy, do you want us to donate this book to Baptist Primary School?
No.
Would you want the children in Baptist Primary School to read this book?
It's even no more Baptist Primary School. It's now Marafa Primary School, Mina.
And they have pupils in that school.
Oh, yes.
The principles in this book, will it be useful to those pupils?
Why not? Yes.
So what I'm recommending, if you approve this is National Assembly, is that we should put Mommy's picture at the back of this book and said, Ms. Abola, donated by Ms. Abola to, what's the name of that school again?
Which school?
Marafa Primary School. As a way of giving back to that school, she can donate 100 copies, 1,000 copies to the school. So in our engagement with the SGF, we found out that he attended ABU Zaria and Nigerian Law School. So what we have decided to do is to put Mommy Abola here, Lawrence here. We can also put what your school stands for, Ms. Ajala. We can put Ms. Ajala's face here and put Ladella here. 32, 33 years of educational excellence, 60 years of age, and we can donate this book to pupils and students of Ladella School. Does that make some sense to you? Now, rather than 100 million to buy one piece of paper, I would rather you take this book and brand it, co-brand it, and put your picture here and donate to your village school. Now, the next thing is I want you, SS Academy, to adopt a school in your village. The children in that village cannot afford this book. This is DI. I know how much they charge us per copy. If we charge the worth of this book, no person in my village will afford it. But if we all agree here and put our faces here, if you want, put your cooperative name here, put your village association here, and donate 100 copies and 1,000 copies to the school. At that, what it means is that this NGO would not have sold this book, we have donated it to them. We are giving it back to the people.
And for your information to most school owners here, every Friday, my pupils, nursery to primary school, wear traditional wear to the school. The Edo girls or boys, you see them with the Yoruba wear their bubat road. The Hausa boys and girls wear jalamia, and the moment you come to my school on Friday, you see them in traditional attires.
To go further, ma, can we change the school uniform from Monday to Friday to traditional attire? Okay, for information, some people have started it. Can we change our wedding gown? I've seen it on Instagram. Can we change wedding gown to Ankara? Can we wear suits to do matriculation and convocation? I didn't wear suit for my convocation. I wore something else. Somebody tied wrapper with walking stick and ishiago to do matriculation. And that guy stood out in the matriculation. Thank you very much. My time is up. God bless you.